In addition to being incredible, the things that I am about to demonstrate to you are completely surprising. It is possible that XRP is about to make a move that will be among the most momentous that we have ever witnessed in any asset. There will not be even a slight increase, let alone a doubling or triple impact. According to the data that has been collected and measured, this is the kind of spike that has the potential to push XRP into the high 3 digits or even into the 4 digits over the course of time. And the timing couldn't be better because large amounts of money are already migrating into cryptocurrency, and XRP is in the perfect position to get a piece of the activity that is happening in digital currency. This is not financial guidance in any way. The reality is as follows. For many years, traders have been advising customers that they should only hold between 1% and 2% of cryptocurrency. At the time, that was a significant event. But what about now? There has been a sea change in the debate. Some financial experts, such as Tom Lee, believe that a range of 5 to 10% is appropriate for the average investor. If you are younger, they claim that a range of 20% or more is also a smart range. The mathematical models that BlackRock employs are a good fit for this proposition. Remember to give that some thought for a moment. It includes with a comprehensive paper, striking pictures, and an exclusive video tour that teaches how to identify stock possibilities that have the potential to change your life before they go insane. It contains research that is backed up by facts and may be used immediately by you immediately. This is something that you should have in your arsenal if you are serious about expanding your knowledge of investing. The purchase of cryptocurrency by a select few wealthy individuals is not the topic at hand. Nearly every major sector of the financial industry is getting ready to invest money in assets that are stored on blockchains. What about companies that do insurance? Management is being done for $8.5 trillion, hedge funds totaling $5 billion, $56 trillion in savings for retirement. It is also important to keep in mind that recent regulations have made it possible to include cryptocurrency in retirement accounts such as 401ks and IRAs. For brokerage houses, $40 trillion is the total, $22 trillion for financial institutions. There are sovereign wealth funds totaling $9.6 trillion. Bedrooms for families cost $5,500,000. The size of the cash base that is now being discussed is that which is described below. Additionally, the total worth of all cryptocurrencies on the market is just approximately $4 trillion at the moment. One estimate places the cost of the next 10 years at $100 trillion. That does not even take into account the elements that cause things to move more quickly, such as tokenization operating at maximum speed. This is where XRP begins to show its potential. At the moment, XRP accounts for somewhere between 4 and 5% of the total cryptocurrency market. Bitcoin comes first, followed by Ethereum, and then XRP concludes the list. However, the case brought by the SEC has been resolved. In the near future, exchange-traded funds, ETFs, will be accessible for XRP. The process of integration and adoption is accelerating. Over the course of the next few years, that market share of 5% has the potential to increase to 7%, 8%, or perhaps 10%. Assuming that XRP retains only 5% of every capital that is received and applying that percentage to the wall of money that is received from institutions, we find that XRP's market cap is increasing by $1.5 trillion. A surprise, however, is in store. Inflows do not have a direct impact on the total market capitalization of cryptocurrencies. Because there is so little money in the market, a single dollar spent can frequently affect the market cap by $50, $100, or even more. It has been observed that multipliers for XRP can range anywhere from 25x to 100x in some circumstances where there is a great deal of liquidity. This is evident from historical trends. In one scenario, XRP has a market cap of $37 trillion, which is equivalent to approximately $620 per token, as a result of new money streaming in at a 25x ratio and totaling $1.48 trillion. Each chip is worth more than $1,200 when multiplied by 50. When multiplied by 100, the value of each XRP triples to $2,500. Moreover, this does not even take into consideration the tokenization of treasuries, staking, which reduces the amount of cryptocurrency that is in circulation, or any other utility-driven drivers. Over the course of a longer period of time, the ratios decrease as liquidity increases, possibly reaching a level of 10x or 25x. However, in the short term, when there are significant waves of fresh money flowing in, The math seems to sustain these enormous amounts of movement. Let's not even bother discussing the 50 most powerful corporations in the world. The blockchain is being considered by all of them, and not just for the purpose of storing cryptocurrency. In addition to that, they are considering tokenizing assets and services with it. We will take a look at NVIDIA. Although it is best known for graphics processing units, GPUs, it also provides assistance to businesses in other areas. It is possible for firms such as Oracle and Microsoft, among others, to convert these services into tokens and then run them on blockchain lines. An XRP system is intended to function in this kind of transaction environment, which is both quick and inexpensive. All right, let's talk about a new major move. To begin, Vivo Power purchased Ripple shares with a value of $100 million. Ripple shares, not XRP at its own price. Ripple as a firm owns approximately 41 billion XRP tokens, which accounts for approximately 41% of the total number of XRP tokens. If you were to solely consider the amount of XRP that Ripple currently possesses, its value would be approximately 135 billion. On the other hand, Vivo Power's transaction is estimated to be worth approximately $19 billion, which indicates that they have secondary access to XRP at a cost of 0.47 per coin. How is it? In order to arrive at this figure, 0.47, we divided Ripple's value of $19 billion by the 41 billion XRP that it now possesses. There is a significant difference between the market price and that, and regular customers are unable to achieve the same result unless they purchase Ripple stock directly. Following this corporate move, another company will be wondering why they are not doing the same thing as they are doing now, mainly due to the fact that XRP has the potential to greatly increase in value over the course of time once it becomes the primary blockchain for global payments, which it is already on its way to accomplishing. Companies who are in possession of facilities and have a significant amount of reserves will be in a better position to strategize than their competitors. And with that, we arrive at the conclusion that Ripple has acquired Rail Financial. It is estimated that Rail processes billions of dollars worth of B2B stablecoin payments annually, which accounts for 10% of all B2B payments worldwide. A number of worldwide payment systems, including SWIFT and SEPA, are connected to it. Ripple now owns Rail, which means that 10% of their traffic is going through their network. This provides them with the ability to quickly reach and scale. The strength of our system is increasing each day. There is a growing realization among businesses and financial institutions that they must take prompt action. Currently, blockchain tracks are not a technology that will be used in the future. When it comes to global banking, they are required for the purposes of speed, compliance, and cost reduction. As much of the infrastructure as possible is being preserved by Ripple, which is working hard to do so. The phrases digital asset investor are absolutely spot on. A significant shift is about to take place in the technical aspects of XRP. During the subsequent wave, the short-term goals that are the lowest are in the range of $8, $11, with probable rises to the range of $13, $15 respectively. Those are realistic, taking into consideration the way that gatherings have been organized in the past. Based on how the market is currently feeling and the amount of money that is available, the upside might continue for a considerable amount of time after that point. As a result of the fact that all of the components are starting to come together at the same moment, you can feel the energy mounting. There are a number of factors that point to cryptocurrency being more popular, including institutional inflows, rules that are more transparent, the prospect of an exchange-traded fund, ETF, large deals, ownership over the infrastructure, and a movement in the preferences of investors across generations. If you've been paying attention, you've probably noticed that situations like these don't occur very frequently. A perfect storm of liquidity, investor psychology, and the widespread usage of new technologies has been the cause of every major cycle that has occurred in the history of cryptocurrency. Keep an eye out for 100x stocks. I'm not talking about another PDF here. You will be provided with a comprehensive textual breakdown, compelling visuals, and a unique video instruction that will demonstrate how to locate stocks that have a high potential for upside profits before the rest of the market does. These kinds of frameworks have been utilized by serious purchasers for a considerable amount of time. You are now able to do so as well. Get it right now while you still have the opportunity to do so. Your comment has been pinned below. It is important to note that the transition to blockchain technologies is not only taking place in the banking sector, entire companies are preparing themselves for tokenization at this very moment. Energy credits, intellectual property, commodities, real estate, and supply chain proof are all examples of things that are going in the direction of being able to be exchanged, transferred, and settled on chain. For each and every one of these tokenized transactions to be successful, a network is required. A blockchain for XRP is not the same as a blockchain for another network. The design was intended to be quick, economical, and scalable without compromising the level of security. Now we come to the portion that is even more significant. However, tokenization is not only responsible for the creation of new money. A total of billions of dollars worth of markets are transferred to the blockchain. Due to the fact that market settlement technology remains on a ledger once it has been added, this is not the same as speculative inflows. It does not move. Value will always flow through that network, which is beneficial for the local assets that are connected to it over the course of the long run. Ripple is cognizant of this point. Because of this, they are searching for intelligent acquisitions such as Rail Financial and developing relationships with businesses that already manage a significant number of transactions. It is important to keep in mind that Rail is responsible for only 10% of all B2B stablecoin payments worldwide. There's a far larger portion of the pie than that. A greater number of these high-volume pipelines will link to Ripple's system, which will result in XRP being an even more valuable asset. It is essential for institutional buyers to be aware of what will occur, and they now are. In the past, it has proven to be beneficial. There is no shadow of legal uncertainty, and regulations are getting more transparent all over the world. These are three things that a limited number of digital items are able to communicate. When the security staff at large institutions give their approval, a significant amount of money can be distributed. Let's take a step back and look at this from a broader perspective. Imagine for a moment that merely 3% of the current $56 trillion in assets held by pension funds were to be invested in cryptocurrency. That is equivalent to $1.68 trillion. The amount of money that will be invested directly into XRP is $84 billion if it maintains its current 5% position of the cryptocurrency market. In the event that you employ a cautious liquidity multiplier of 25 times, the market capitalization is greater than $2 trillion, which indicates that the prices of XRP are in the triple digits. That does not even take into account the several other sources of income. Insurance reserves, hedge funds, national wealth funds, and brokerage allocations are all factors that fall under this category. It is this portion that the majority of people overlook. The flow of wealth from one generation to the next. The majority of the world's wealth is still controlled by older groups, and these groups have a tendency to invest a greater portion of their wealth in traditional assets. Within the next 20 years, younger people will get tens of trillions of dollars in grants and scholarships. Furthermore, each and every survey and poll reveals that younger investors would rather put their money into cryptocurrency than stocks. It is impossible for any stock market metric to replicate the windfall that is already built into the system. In addition to that, tokenization should be added. It is estimated that the real estate industry alone is worth $326 trillion. It makes no difference if only 1% of that is tokenized on the XRP ledger. The total amount of settlement flow that is directly tied to the network is still $326 trillion. You are correct. That is just one form of riches. When you take into account commodities, corporate bonds, and government treasuries, all of which are on the roadmap for tokenization, the settlement amount that may be conceivable is enormous. Cryptocurrency markets are not like ordinary markets in terms of their liquidity. A flood of $1 billion has the potential to change a stock in the stock market by a few percentage points. That $1 billion has the potential to bring about significant price shifts during periods in which there is a limited supply of XRP. It is for this reason that there exist factors such as 25x, 50x, and even 100x, as well as the reasons why waves of early adoption are so advantageous for price movement. It is not just the cost that is the issue. Controlling systems are the subject of this discussion. The flows of value are likewise under the control of the individual who controls the rails. Ripple is exerting a lot of effort in order to establish itself as the hub for secure coin flows, for settlement across borders, and for the settlement of tokenized assets. Each and every one of the deals, agreements, and victories that have occurred at the regulatory level are pieces on the same enormous chessboard. Concurrently, there will be an increase in competition. Nevertheless, XRP's merits lie in its speed and affordability. Specifically, We are discussing the settlement of transactions in a matter of seconds for a few hundredths of a penny, while also having the capacity to manage the quantity of transactions coming from institutions. As a result of this, financial institutions, payment processors, and even governments are investigating the possibility of employing XRP ledgers, or they have already begun doing so. You can see that the current state of affairs is one of the most unequal opportunities in contemporary finance when you take a step back and look at the full picture, which includes institutional inputs, wealth moving between generations, tokenization, infrastructure acquisition, and liquidity multipliers. Because time is of the essence, I will continue to try to convince you of this. It is possible that you will only catch the tail end of the wave if you fail to execute the first half of this move. This will prevent you from doubling your position.